Sophie Sierra, a woman known for her fierce determination and unapologetic honesty, was more than prepared for the drama that comes with being a part of 90 Day Fiancé. What she wasn't ready for, however, was how Rob Warne would turn out on screen. It all began innocently enough. Sophie had met Rob online, and their whirlwind romance had led to them crossing oceans to meet in person. Sophie, with her fiery spirit, had hoped for a future full of love and understanding with Rob. But from the start, there were signs that Rob might not be as ready for commitment as he portrayed himself to be. Their relationship had never been smooth sailing. Rob's occasional bursts of insecurity, his controlling tendencies, and his strange fixation on money had caused friction. Still, Sophie tried to make it work, always optimistic that love could conquer all. But things took a turn when the sick son drama entered the picture. Rob had begun sharing personal details on social media about his son's health issues, claiming that the boy was suffering from a mysterious illness. He played up the sympathy card, begging fans and followers for support, but something about his story didn't sit right with Sophie. Sophie had always been blunt, and she didn't take kindly to what she perceived as manipulation. She felt that Rob was using his son's illness as a way to garner sympathy, shifting the narrative away from his selfish behavior and villainous tendencies. Sophie couldn't stand it. She had been there through the ups and downs of their relationship, and this felt like a calculated move on Rob's part. Sophie's frustration bubbled to the surface when Rob posted a heartfelt message about how difficult things were for him, and how he had to put everything on hold to care for his sick child. While Sophie wasn't insensitive to the struggles of parenting, she knew Rob's manipulation tactics all too well. She wasn't going to let this fly under the radar. Sophie hit back with a series of posts on her Instagram, calling out Rob for his stinginess and the way he had distorted the situation for his own gain. Sophie's first public jab came when she shared a story on Instagram where she dropped a sarcastic comment about people who pretend to be good fathers when the cameras are rolling. "Oh, what a saint," she wrote. "I guess we should all forget the stingy behavior from before and the way you hide your money." Fans quickly caught on to the subtext, and Sophie's words spread like wildfire. "I don't know what's worse, Rob's attempt to play the loving father or his obsession with controlling the narrative," Sophie said during a live stream without holding back. "When the cameras aren't on, he can't even take care of his own business, let alone a sick kid." Fans flooded the comments, many agreeing with Sophie, but also expressing their skepticism about Rob's story. Some even began to question the legitimacy of Rob's claims, with a few suggesting that he might not even have a son at all. Sophie didn't stop there. Her shade became sharper, more direct, and less subtle. During an episode of 90 Day Fiancé, Sophie could be seen rolling her eyes when Rob talked about his son's health struggles. "Poor kid," she muttered under her breath, loud enough for the cameras to catch. "Yeah, sure," she said to the producers later. "Rob's whole "I'm a dad" thing is a performance. He's got more focus on his money than his so-called family." She crossed her arms defiantly, her eyes never leaving Rob, who looked taken aback by the unexpected backlash. While Sophie had been vocal about Rob's manipulative tactics behind closed doors, things were starting to crack. The tension between them was palpable. Rob had begun accusing Sophie of not being supportive, claiming that she didn't understand the pressure he was under. Sophie, however, was having none of it. "You're playing this victim card, Rob," Sophie told him one evening, her voice low but steady. "You use every excuse to avoid taking responsibility for anything. You use your son as a shield. If you weren't so stingy and selfish, I might actually feel sorry for you." Rob's face hardened. He had never been one to back down, but Sophie's words were hitting harder than he expected. He tried to defend himself, but Sophie wasn't having it. Her patience was gone. "You want to talk about responsibility? You've been stringing me along for months, Rob," Sophie continued. "I'm not just here for your drama. I'm not here for you to control the narrative. If you really cared about your son, you'd act like it." The argument reached a boiling point when Sophie revealed that she had caught Rob lying about certain details of his son's illness. She didn't have proof, but her instincts told her that something wasn't adding up. Rob was furious. "Stop accusing me of things I didn't do, Sophie," Rob snapped. "I'm doing the best I can. You wouldn't understand." But Sophie wasn't backing down. "No, Rob, you're doing the best you can, but that doesn't mean it's right. I'm not going to sit here and let you turn this into some sob story to make people forget what a selfish jerk you really are." The tension between Rob and Sophie escalated when Sophie discovered Rob had been trying to control how the show portrayed their relationship. He wanted to be seen as the struggling father, the man who sacrificed everything for his child, while Sophie felt like she was being pushed into the background. She had been a part of his life too, and she wasn't going to let him take all the credit for their struggles. During a heated conversation on set, Sophie let loose, calling Rob out for his manipulative behavior. The cameras rolled, but the anger in her voice was real. "You think you can fool the cameras, Rob?" Sophie said, her voice shaking with frustration. "You're not fooling me, and you sure as hell aren't fooling anyone else. The good father act isn't going to save you. People see through it." Rob's jaw clenched, but he had no comeback. Sophie's words were like a punch to the gut, and for the first time, Rob realized that he couldn't just keep playing the victim and expect to win. But it was too late for apologies. Sophie was done. She had spent months giving him the benefit of the doubt, but now she saw through his every move. He had painted himself into a corner, and Sophie was ready to expose him for who he really was. As the season progressed, it became increasingly clear that Rob's villain edit was here to stay. His attempts to manipulate the narrative on social media and in interviews fell flat. Sophie's unfiltered honesty and refusal to sugarcoat anything had sealed his fate. Every time Rob tried to shift the focus to his sick son, Sophie would step in, dismantling his lies one by one. Sophie's social media following grew, with fans rallying behind her for calling out Rob. Her supporters applauded her for refusing to let him use his son as a crutch to manipulate the public. "Everyone loves a villain, but I'm not playing into Rob's narrative," Sophie declared in a final Instagram post, where she shared a message of empowerment to her fans. "I'm done with the lies. I'm here to expose the truth." By the end of the season, Rob had been fully branded as the show's villain, a role he couldn't shake, no matter how hard he tried. Sophie, on the other hand, emerged as a fan favorite, her fearless attitude earning her respect from viewers across the globe. This story would unfold over several more chapters, filled with additional confrontations, plot twists, and behind-the-scenes moments. Sophie's journey would continue as she finds herself reclaiming control over her narrative, while Rob's reputation takes a hit from his own actions.